Good morning, and welcome back to my channel where I'm going to attempt to predict the game week 2 fixtures of the 2019-2020 season in the Barclays Premier League. Actually, it's not called the Barclays Premier League anymore, it's called the Premier League. Let's have a quick look and see how I did last week. It was quite a mixed week, if I'm being honest with you. So I went 3-0 to Liverpool against Norwich. That was always 4-1, so I got the outcome for that one. I went West Ham 1, Manchester City 3. That was an outcome as well. That finished 5-0. Bournemouth Sheffield United went for a 2-0 win to Bournemouth. That was 1-1, so that's wrong. Burnley Southampton went for a 1-1 draw. It was 3-0 to Burnley. That's another one I got wrong. This one, I don't think anyone expected me to get this one at all. I predicted Watford to beat Brighton 2-0. Brighton won 3-0. So that was another one. Spurs, I predicted to win 2-1 against Aston Villa. They won 3-1. Leicester Wolves, I predicted a 2-2 draw. It was a 0-0 draw. Newcastle Arsenal went for a 3-1 win to Arsenal. I went for a 1-0 win to it finished 1-0 to Arsenal. And for Manchester United Chelsea, I went for a 1-0 win to United, and it finished 4-0. So a mixed week, and I didn't actually realise until I saw I saw my friend's YouTube channel that he's done a head-to-head with me. So Mr. Exclusive, duty to entertain channel. The challenge is on. I'm ready to take up your challenge. So this is going to be obviously head-to-head between me and you. So yeah, we'll see how we do. Obviously, it's 1-0 to you at the moment. But you know, good luck to you for this week because I think there's some really hard games to predict. So let's kick things off. So the first match, and this is a 12:30 kickoff, and it's on BT Sport, is Arsenal against Burnley. Now this is going to be a very good game, I think. The last meeting actually between the sides at the Emirates, it finished 3-1 to Arsenal. Now Arsenal, what can we say? Very decent win against Newcastle. I know that Newcastle have obviously had problems with fans staying away, etc. It did feel kind of flat, the atmosphere though. I was watching it in the pub in McGowan's in Edinburgh, and you have to think that you would have expected Newcastle fans to sing, but obviously they are staying away from that game for a reason. And the atmosphere felt kind of flat. I think Arsenal took that to their advantage. Although I did think Newcastle did give them quite a good game, actually. The first half is in particular wasn't much between the sides. Newcastle actually played the better of the two sides in the first half, and I thought that Arsenal, I thought they came out in the second half, played very, very well. And then obviously got the goal. Aubameyang does what Aubameyang does, and he's a goal scorer, and instinct finish from him. And then obviously Arsenal go and win the game. So I think if you have to say this, I think Arsenal are probably going to be well on top in this one. Coming up against the Burnley side, 3-0 winners over Southampton. Ashley Barnes, he loves scoring against Southampton, doesn't he? 2 goals for him. So he'll be in very, very good confidence. Gudmundsson obviously scored the third goal for Burnley as well against Southampton. So I think Burnley will go into this game knowing that Burnley have never beaten Arsenal in the Premier League. There's been 1 draw between the sides. Arsenal have won the last 5 meetings. So yeah. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how Burnley do. Do I think Burnley will get anything here? No, I'm afraid not to say. I think this is going to be quite one-sided. I do think Arsenal will probably play their big guns. I think Pepe will start. I think Lacazette will start. I think Aubameyang will start. I think Ceballos will start. I think Mkhitaryan will be dropped. Thought he was absolutely dreadful at the weekend for Arsenal against Newcastle. So it's going to be very, very interesting for this one. But for me, I'm going to have to go for an Arsenal win. I'm going to go for an Arsenal 3, Burnley 1. Aston Villa against Bournemouth. Now, the last time these two met, This was obviously Bournemouth's first season in the Premier League. This was the 15-16 season. And Aston Villa went down that season. Now, the last meeting at Villa Park was a 2-1 win to Bournemouth. And it's quite interesting, actually, because they've only met 2 times and there's a win apiece. So they're quite evenly matched for these ones. But obviously, a welcome return to obviously Villa Park for Aston Villa. Played very, very well in the first half at Tottenham. Really, really unlucky to lose that 3-1. But you kind of got a feeling that Tottenham were growing into the game ever so slightly. And to be honest with you, I think the way that they played in the first half will put them in good stead. John McGinn, absolutely superb goal from him. He is going to be very, very interesting to see what he can do. And he's obviously scored the first goal. Tyrone Mings, who I thought was absolutely superb at the back for Villa as well. So they have a really good team, and you know what? They could have been 2, maybe 3-0 up at half time against Tottenham, because Tottenham were not there in the first half, and the second half obviously they came out firing all cylinders. But you have to say that Villa started really, really well at Tottenham, and were very unlucky to lose that one. But coming in for other home fans, they'll be confident of doing that. Bournemouth, I have to say that Bournemouth were very, very good. It's quite interesting to see that they were. I mean, Sheffield United started the game very well at the Vitality, so it was very, very interesting to see how they would do that. But, however, it is going to be very, very interesting. So yeah, I think Bournemouth. Having said that, it's going to be another interesting game, this one. Now, obviously, there's a win apiece between these sides. I'm gonna go for Aston Villa to get a return home win here, and I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win to Aston Villa. Brighton against West Ham. Now, this is very interesting. West Ham have never beaten Brighton in the Premier League. In fact, the last meeting between the sides was a 2-2 draw at the London Stadium. And I think Brighton won the reverse fixture at the Annex. So they've got a good record at the Annex, it has to be said. Has to be said, though, Brighton, the shock result of all game week 1 fixtures, without a shadow of a doubt. How they played so well at Watford. They absolutely dominated the game. Absolutely dominated. Obviously they had to ride their luck a few times, but having said that, the way that they played, Dunk was fantastic. Ryan was fantastic. They've got Neil Maupay now, who came on and scored. Florian Andone, he scored with his first touch, and then obviously Doucouré got an OG there as well. I think Brighton. I think people are going to be. I think people were impressed with the way Graham Potter came in, and maybe people like me have underestimated them. But it's still very, very early on, so you can't really say that much. West Ham, 5-0 defeat to Manchester City doesn't tell the whole story. City weren't great in the first half, but West Ham, obviously VAR came into a big thing this week, and obviously it dominated that game. But if you think about it, what would have happened if West Ham had scored immediately after that VAR decision to overturn Jesus' third goal? Then it might have been a different game. But City were clinical. But yeah, I mean, West Ham will be pretty relieved that they cannot play Manchester City every week. So that's a thing. The fact that West Ham have never beaten Brighton kind of sways towards a Brighton win for me. And I'm going to go for a Brighton win. I'm going to go for another win for the Seagulls. I'm going for a 1-0 win to Brighton. And West Ham's winless run against Brighton continues. This will be a very good game, this one. Everton against Watford. Marco Silva coming up against his former club. Now, if you remember the reverse fixture, there were lots of plastic snakes from the Watford fans towards Marco Silva. So there's a wee bit of a rivalry there. So it'll be very, very interesting to see if that would happen again. Very, very funny to watch, I must admit. Also has to be said that I think Everton were unlucky not to win at Palace. Obviously, Morgan Schneiderlin will be suspended for this game. He got 2 yellow cards. The first yellow, though, I mean, I know he gets booked, but his reaction to it, he's thumping the ground like a spoilt teenager. I mean, he's a grown man. He is a grown man. And, Morgan Schneiderlin is supposed to be one of those players who is experienced enough to know that you cannot do that to get, a dissent will lead to a yellow card. So he should have known better, but he didn't. So, it's quite interesting to see that, he did that. But obviously they'll be coming up against, they're back at Goodison, so, home fans will be expectant, I think, to say the least. Watford, probably the shock of the first round results. I mean, 3-0 down to Brighton. That was not expected at all. But, I think they played okay. They just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. But that second half performance will really worry Javi Gracia, I think. Having said that, home advantage for me is key for this one. I just think Everton are going to win this one, and I'm going for a 2-0 win to the Blues. I just think that Everton will have too much for Watford, and I do expect Moise Kean to make a debut. I believe he wasn't used at Palace, so it'll be very, very interesting to see if he makes his debut. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Everton. Norwich against Newcastle. Now, the last time these two met, Norwich won 3-2. This was very, very way back. I think this was whenever Norwich were in the last time in the Premier League. 2014, 2015, actually, I think it was. Newcastle's last win at Carrow Road was 1994. So a long, long time ago. Norwich, very, very good attacking wise at Anfield. They carved out a few opportunities and could have maybe grabbed a couple of goals very early on, but you cannot defend like they did against Liverpool. First obviously, Grant Hanley scoring an own goal. Defensively they weren't great, but attacking wise they look pretty good. Pukki, he obviously scored at Anfield. He's obviously proven that he can score goals. So obviously Carrow Road will be expected as well. So yeah, it's great to have Norwich back. It really is. It's great to have Norwich back. Newcastle, obviously they lost to Arsenal, but plenty of positives, I think. Almiron was one of the players that really stood out for me. He was excellent. Joelinton, I think he will come good eventually. Who was Saint Maxime who came on? He looks quick. Although I don't really like the look of his hair. The last time I saw someone with spaghetti hair was Didier Ndong. Remember him? The Sunderland player. His hair was like spaghetti. So yeah, it's a bit weird to be doing that, but yeah, I think it is going to be very, very interesting to see this one. Now the fact that Newcastle have not won at Carrow Road since 1994 makes me sway towards a Norwich win, and I think Norwich have probably more of a chance to win this game than Newcastle. Newcastle's away form is dreadful, the best of times. Norwich had a fantastic home record last season. I fully expect Norwich to win this one. I'm going for a 2-1 win to the newly promoted side. Norwich 2, Newcastle 1. Southampton against Liverpool. Now, the last time these two met, Southampton, it was a 3-1 win to Liverpool, but obviously Southampton took the lead in that game. And Shane Long scored that day. and then obviously Liverpool equalised, and then obviously went on to win that game 3-1. Southampton lost 3-0 against Burnley. The worrying thing was, I know Che Adams had a chance very, very early in the first half, but after that it was a poor performance from Southampton. And this is what worries me about Southampton, is who's going to score their goals. Is Che Adams ready to step up to the plate to be that striker who's come up from the Championship? I'm not sure. I suppose they've got Danny Ings. Charlie Austin has been sold to West Brom. I don't understand that one. I really don't understand that one. But apparently he fell out with the manager. So, but they're back in front of their home fans at St Mary, so they will be expecting to get at least a better result. But I worry I worry for Southampton the way that they're scoring goals. So whoever's going to score goals for them, that would worry me definitely. Liverpool obviously 4-1 winners over Norwich, and also they've got the European Super Cup tonight, so very, very interesting that one. But they were comfortable. Kind of took the foot off the gas in the second half. Obviously 4-0 up at half time. You would have expected them go and score 5, 6, 7, but wasn't to be. For this game, can't really see much other than a Liverpool win. Hopefully, obviously being a Liverpool fan. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Liverpool. I just think Liverpool's attacking press will be far too much for Southampton. But yeah, I'm going for a 3-0 win to Liverpool. Now, the evening time kickoff, and it's a cracker. Manchester City against Tottenham. Now, the last time these two met, Manchester City won, obviously, in the Premier League 1-0. And they obviously won the Champions League game 4-3. But another goal that would have been 5-3. So would have took them through, but it didn't take them through anyway. Manchester City 5-0 winners over West Ham. Raheem Sterling gets a hat-trick. Nothing more to be said about that one. Yeah, they were just dominant. Had a few sticky moments though. I mean, Rodri had a very good debut. But you look at the players that they left on the bench: Sergio Aguero, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden. Who else was on that bench? Otamendi. So, there's a lot of good players on that City bench who didn't even get on, and that's worrying for other teams. But yes, be very, very interesting to see this one. Tottenham, like I said, first half they were very, very poor against Villa, but in the second half they really stepped up to the plate. And Dombele obviously scoring on his debut, and then Harry Kane, who doesn't score in August, has obviously put that myth to bed with a double against Villa. So he'll obviously want to continue. His goal scoring form. I fully expect this to be a very tight game. Obviously, City and Tottenham has been some good score lines between these two last in the past. So, but for this one, cannot see anything other than Manchester City win. I do think it'll be very, very close though. Can see Tottenham scoring, but I just think Man City's attacking prowess will be too much for Tottenham. I'm going for a 2-1 win to City. Now we're moving to the Sunday games, and the first one, fairly enough, is Sheffield United against Crystal Palace. Now, the last time Crystal Palace met Sheffield United, this was back in 1994. Would you believe it? They didn't meet in the only season that Sheffield United were in the Premier League. The last time, 2006-2007. So, not been many meetings between these two. Sheffield United, a very good point away at Bournemouth, it has to be said. Billy Sharp scoring at the Vitality, fantastic for him. Great to see Sheffield United back, it really is. Palace 0-0 against Everton, but you have to say that they were very, very good against Everton. Very unlucky not to score either. So, be very, very interesting with this one. The fact that both of these sides have not met many times. Sheffield United, fantastic at home last season. Crystal Palace, brilliant away last season. There's only one result here. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I just cannot separate these two, so I'm going Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 1. And that is a 2 o'clock kickoff, actually, before I say Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, that's live on Sky Sports. And also Manchester City, Tottenham is a 5:30 kickoff, that is also live on Sky Sports. Chelsea against Leicester City. Now, this is a 4:30 kickoff. Last time these two met at Stamford Bridge, funnily enough, Leicester actually won 1-0. That was a Jamie Vardy goal. So, be very interesting to see what actually happens in this one. Chelsea, what can I say about Chelsea? Started really well at Old Trafford. They hit the post a couple of times for Tammy Abraham and Emerson. Barkley had a shot saved by De Gea. So, attacking wise, they're okay. Defensively, in that second half, they just capitulated. You do not concede a goal and a second goal, and then concede a third one straight after that. That was dreadful defending. Kurt Zuma had a really torrid time of it he had a very torrid time at Old Trafford. So obviously, once Rudiger comes back, it'll be very interesting to see who's going to be that partnership. Is it going to be Rudiger and Christensen? Is it going to be Zuma Rudiger? I would probably expect Rudiger and Christensen, considering that Zuma hasn't played much for Chelsea. So I would probably expect that. But yeah, 4-0 in the end was very harsh, but probably on the balance of play in that second half, Manchester United did deserve it. Leicester, obviously a 0-0 draw against Wolves. Disappointed actually. I really had high hopes for that one to be a cracking game, but wasn't to be, obviously. I will come to Wolves in a minute, but Leicester played all right. How Vardy didn't score, goodness knows, but I would expect Vardy to score this weekend. Now, many people will expect me to say a Chelsea win. If they lose tonight in the European Super Cup, then be very interesting to see what their mindset is for the Premier League. Lampard doesn't want a double whammy, losing in the Super Cup and then losing at home. But I have a feeling with the uncertainty over obviously Chelsea's squad, I think Leicester can take advantage, and I'm going to go for a very famous 2-1 win to Leicester City. I do think Leicester City could actually beat Chelsea here, so going for a 2-1 win to Leicester City. And the final game of the game week is Wolves against Manchester United. This is a Monday night game, so it's live on Sky Sports at 8 o'clock kickoff. Wolves, probably unlucky not to win at Leicester. Obviously, the disallowed goal from VAR, I mean, I thought at the time that I was watching it, it was a very legitimate goal, but you actually do see that he does handball it. So, disappointing for that aspect. But, having said that, Wolves, obviously they've got Europa League action tomorrow, but they're 4-0 up, so be interesting to see if Nuno Espirito Santo actually rests players, knowing that they are all but through to the next round of the Europa League. Manchester United, very, very good performance against Chelsea. I don't think anyone expected them to win 4-0. Obviously getting a bit of revenge for obviously 2016 when obviously Chelsea beat them 4-0 at Stamford Bridge. So a bit of revenge there, definitely. Maguire was superb. Wan-Bissaka was very, very good as well. Lindelof was very, very good. The only real weakness, I think, in the Manchester United team, for me, is Luke Shaw. I think I noticed in the game that Chelsea had a 2-on-1 attack, and Luke Shaw wasn't... This wasn't Luke Shaw's fault, but Marcus Rashford wasn't tracking back, and it allowed Chelsea to do a sort of a 2-on-1, so that would be my only main worry if I was a United fan, that the left back role was a wee bit of a concern. But to be fair, Rashford scored twice. Martial scored. The ball from Pogba for the third goal was absolutely superb, though. And actually, up to that point, obviously Pogba got 2 assists in that game, and obviously, you know, Daniel James got his first goal. Delighted for him. I know I shouldn't be saying that as a Liverpool fan, but absolutely delighted for him saying that, because obviously he's lost his father, and it's always nice to see him dedicating that goal to his father. He would be very, very proud if he was still here. So yeah, but Manchester United thoroughly deserved winners in the end, and yeah, it's, you know, it's very, very good. And also obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left out loads of players. He left out Phil Jones and Chris Smalling, Dumb and Dumber. I know people call them the Chuckle Brothers, but I call them Dumb and Dumber. Matic, he was left on the bench. Mata, obviously Greenwood came on as well. So the only real worry for Manchester United fans is the midfield, I would say, and obviously the left back role as well. So Wolves' record against the top 6 was excellent last season. I think they only lost to Liverpool twice, Tottenham. Yeah, so I think for this one, though, having said that, Manchester United are on good form at the moment, and I think they can take that into this game, and I think they could win this one. But yeah, I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win to Manchester United, and obviously Manchester United will get revenge over Wolves if they do win. So that is it. That is my game week 2 predictions. I will go through them very, very quickly. So I've got Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, Aston Villa 2, Bournemouth 1, Brighton 1, West Ham 0, Everton 2, Watford 0, Norwich 2, Newcastle 1, Southampton 0, Liverpool 3, Man City 2, Tottenham 1, Sheffield United 1, Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 1, Leicester 2, and Wolves 1, Manchester United 2. So that is it. That is my predictions. If anyone else wants to have their predictions, then obviously put your comments in the comment section below. And I will also leave Mr. Exclusive's YouTube details in the description below, the Duty Entertain channel. Please go and subscribe. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, hopefully I get the better of him this weekend. But we'll see. But it's obviously friendly, so. So yes, and please like, share, and subscribe. I've had a few subscribers lately, so it's nice to see that as well. And yes, so thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll be back on Thursday for a Southampton versus Liverpool preview. So look forward to that as well. But enjoy the weekend. Enjoy your football. Hope your teams win, and yeah, we shall have a very good weekend of watching some football for sure. But thank you very much for watching this video, and I will be back very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.